We expanded to the US pretty early on because there's the biggest market. But in Dresden especially, we have the highest density of research organizations. So if you think about Fraunhofer Institutes or Max Planck, we have world-leading universities here as well. So the technical know-how is really dense here. So if you have any technical challenge, you can solve that here within a very short radius. You have a really good university, the Technical University. And as far as I know, I think there are the most students in Germany studying aerospace engineering here in Dresden. Most people are basically graduating here. So it's also a big talent pool that we can source from.
Hey SpaceWatchers, this is Space Café Radio, your channel about trends, awesome events and interesting people in the space sector. Dresden was calling, or better to say, I received an invitation for a grand opening. And curious as I am, I followed this invitation of Morpheus Space for the opening of their new production facility in the town. I used this opportunity to talk with Daniel Bock, the CEO and co-founder of Morpheus Space, about their way forward, about their story and their products. I'm Torsten Kriening, publisher of SpaceWatch.Global. Lean back and enjoy this episode.
Hey SpaceWatchers, and welcome to our Space Café Radio, where I sit together with Daniel Bock, the CEO of Morpheus Space in Dresden, on a very special day, the grand opening day of their production facility. So Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm super well, and I'm excited. It's been a great day so far, and thanks for having me on your show. We just opened up our new production facility, as you mentioned. Our new production facility has also a name, Reloaded. So we want to reload the production capacity of propulsion systems here. It was a great event so far. We were lucky to have the Prime Minister of Saxony here, who gave a great speech. We just saw 3 panels. The program is still running, and I'm super happy to be on your show.
Yeah, as you said, the program is running. It means the day is almost over, and the team is getting ready to partying. You said the reopening, you produced your propulsion systems already here. So what is new?
Yes, the production facility itself is new. We just launched our second generation of the propulsion system, which we call Go 2. And this new product will be produced here. The first generation we produced in our laboratory. Of course, the production capacity was pretty limited. We have already more than a dozen of our propulsion systems from the first generation in space, though. But we really wanted to scale the production. And for this, we needed to move in a new facility, bigger space, new people, and basically bringing the production to the next level.
As the head of state of Saxony mentioned earlier, the biggest space production facility here in the state.
Definitely. So it's the biggest one in Saxony. As far as I know, also the biggest propulsion factory in Germany, and only a few others in the world. That's very limited.
Just to rewind that, other products, the other propulsion system you put into space, they're also produced here in Dresden, just in another facility or somewhere else.
Yeah, so they were produced in another facility in our laboratory, which we still have, where we basically developed a new product as well, which is also in Dresden, but in different location and smaller, of course. We will continue to use that old location. We will bring to market new products in the future. Then when they are ready, basically transition to the production site here. It's really producing here and the other location in Dresden.
Can you rewind for me and for our audience the Morpheus story? How did it all started?
Sure. So it started officially when we founded the company is about 6 years ago, but the whole story started much longer ago. 4 co-founders and I basically founded the company, and we knew each other for many years. We all studied and did research at the Technical University in Dresden, and we became friends. And it turned out that the research topic I was working on was very promising on the commercial side. So we basically stuck our heads together. We were working in the same lab. I showed a nice picture today. So we didn't start in a garage, but in a very small lab underground without any windows. And we basically took our chances. So once we were at the point where our technology worked, we got it into space and founded the company.
Okay, but from starting 6 years ago to where you are today with the new investment here, there's a lot happened in between. Maybe you can give us some milestones.
Absolutely. So that was just the beginning, the starting story. Since then, we are now 60 people, 60 worldwide. So we have 2 locations, as we already mentioned, here in Dresden now, and we have also an office in Los Angeles, California. The distribution is hardware development, production is here in Germany, and business development and also software development is in Los Angeles. So we are not only producing propulsion systems, we are really tackling the space mobility problem holistically. So that means we are also offering software solutions to plan for maneuvers, to basically avoid collisions in space, to plan your mission in general. So how many propulsion systems, what kind of satellites you need to, and that's what we're doing with our Journey product that is developed in the US. So we really want to make space mobility safe and simple. So that means you don't need any highly trained space experts to control satellites anymore, and you can really leverage the potential behind our propulsion systems, of course, and make space a safer place and more sustainable place.
Can you delve into that a bit more? Because we know about the space debris issue. How does your solution fit into that giant network, what it is today?
That's a very good question. Maybe not that easy to answer. You pointed it out already in your question. It's very segmented. There are propulsion companies, there are companies that produce satellites, companies who operate satellites, there are the applications. So it's very segmented, and all the puzzle pieces don't really fit together. And we want to solve at least a part of that puzzle. The mobility part is connecting a lot of pieces in that puzzle. If you put a satellite into space, it is confronted with a lot of different challenges. You mentioned a few of them. So first, you get deployed from the rocket. You need to get to the orbit that you want to operate. Often that's not the same orbit. So you need to fly there. You need to use propulsion, and you want to do that as quickly as possible without any interruptions. Then you operate the satellite over years of operation. And then you're also confronted on a daily life with other complications. For example, there is a warning that another satellite is crossing your path, or space debris objects are in your way, and you need to perform a collision avoidance maneuver. So you need to basically leave your track and come back again on track. And then there also, during operation, maybe changes in business models. If you're, for example, an Earth observation company and you want to observe certain areas of the world, and then we are living in a fast-paced world, your objective changes. You want to visit different territories more often, so you need to adjust your orbit again. So you're using propulsion systems and smart navigation again. And then when the mission lifetime is complete, what are you going to do with the old satellite? So you need to get rid of it. Either you leave it in the orbit, but that's then occupied. You cannot use it for new satellites, for new technology. And it's also creating a risk for others. Or you basically deorbit it. So that means that you bring it back down to the atmosphere where it burns up then.
How does your mission planning software you just mentioned before tackles that? So you said you provide a holistic approach to that. How is it then? How do I have to envision it?
We can take a look at the hall. There's a monitor and can walk you through the details there. But to stay on a little bit higher level, Journey, our software platform, starts at the very beginning of the mission. It's also a mission analysis and planning tool. So already when you have just a business idea, you can use it. So you have the idea, okay, I want to provide pictures of the Earth in that area. How could a satellite mission look like? And you start with, okay, maybe I know already some ranges of how big the satellite is and where to be in certain areas of the Earth. And you can basically create your first initial orbits, and then you can really, with click and point, very easily intuitive web interface, can then define, okay, here I want to increase my orbit, here I want to change my inclination or phasing the satellite and so on. So it's really easy. You're basically following a plan. And then you set that up, you run a simulation, you see how it works, what kind of thrust levels and what you need actually for it. Then it's matched with a list of suppliers as well. So we have also a marketplace included. It has a lot of different propulsion systems, for example, and depending on what kind of requirements you specified, you see then a fit. okay, this technology, this product is meeting my requirements. You can contact then the supplier, and we are basically brokering also introductions to other companies, not only propulsion systems, but other subsystems on the satellite as well. So, for example, power systems or ADCS systems, and basically everything that you have on the satellite and that impacts your mission.
How is the split between software and hardware in comparison of sold volumes or revenue?
So we started with propulsion. We already mentioned we are already having the second generation on market already. And we started with the software part later. The software is more early on. So that the clear revenue part at the moment is the hardware. But what we see in the future is that it almost comes like to an even split.
Why Dresden? Why not Munich, Luxembourg, Havel, which are the usual places where you find an infrastructure that supports space? Because I'm quite sure that's a challenge here in Dresden. You're a unicorn, as you mentioned before. There are not so many space companies here. Dresden has a huge, at least East German aviation history, but that's it.
Yeah, on the industry part, I think we can just work on. I see a lot of things happening. We maybe were the first startup out of that region, but there are different other companies that already founded or are about to be founded. And I'm quite positive that this will be a big hub in the future as well in Germany and Europe.
It's interesting just to hear that, because my career started here also in Dresden. So I started studying in Dresden before going back home, but that's just a side story. Let's focus on your hardware, on the propulsion system. What makes them so unique?
There are plenty of unique features in our propulsion system, but I think the most important ones is it is modular and easy to integrate. So it's really just a box, a cube basically, that you can put on your satellite. You saw it yourself. It's just a few screws, one connector, and that's all of it. You don't have to interfere with the whole satellite design, integrating a propulsion system. It's highly efficient, it's affordable and available. And of course, there are many technical advantages, which I could talk like hours about and what I'm excited about. So we are, for example, using metallic propellant. So we don't use gases to produce the thrust. Most of the propulsion system, either it's chemical or electrical, use gases. And for that, you need tanks, pressurized tanks, you need wells, you need pipes and everything. And we don't need that. We have a solid metallic propellant. And this is just stored in a solid block of metal. You launch it, then you heat it up, it gets liquefied. And then we are only applying electrical fields. And it's fed through capillary action. You don't have any moving parts in there. It's all electronically controlled. And that makes it extremely reliable as well. I think that's what we need. We need easy to use products that are reliable and that you can basically produce at scale.
Is the orbit market also a market you look after? Is it something that your propulsion system can be also used, plus the propulsion over the lifetime of the satellite?
Do you mean if our propulsion system can be used for deorbiting?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So that's another big advantage, because we are so efficient, especially from the propellant usage. We are covering the whole mission lifetime. I sketched out the whole mission, so deployment, operation, deorbiting. And for all of that, you need fuel, you need maneuvers to be performed. And we need so little propellant, because our technology is so efficient, that we can cover the whole lifetime. And you have still margin. You can increase or decrease your orbit by multiple hundreds of kilometers, and you only used up a fraction of the propellant. And deorbiting is taking a lot of propellant energy, and this is one of the most used cases basically to really have enough propellant left to perform this deorbit maneuver.
It is a very hot topic, as we discussed before. What kind of satellite size are we talking about?
Yes, so the Go-To product has about the form factor of 1 unit of a CubeSat factor, so 10 by 10 centimeters roughly. This is designed to start from satellites that are 6-unit CubeSats, so about 6 to 10 kilograms. If you use one of these boxes of one of these propulsion units, and then you can just put on multiple units if you have a bigger satellite. And that scales pretty well until 250 kilograms. So we are covering with that product basically a range from about 10 kilograms to 250 kilograms. If you have a bigger satellite than this new product is not the best fit. Could be used as secondary propulsion system still, for example, to perform the deorbit maneuver. But yeah, I also mentioned that we are doing R&D still. So there's more to come, and also for bigger satellites.
Who are your clients today? Obviously, satellite manufacturers, as you're providing a subsystem. So who are you working with, if you can talk about it?
We certainly know that we cannot so many names because our industry is quite bound by NDAs, but I can talk generally. And we have pretty diverse customer base. Starts from small companies, startups that are just in the demonstration phase, so maybe seed or a Series A stage, where they are going to demonstrate their capability, their payload, or whatever their business is. And it ranges from there until really public traded companies that are on a stock exchange, that are billion-dollar companies with a lot of satellites in space. So it's a whole range of customers. And it's also not a big surprise because our propulsion systems are so scalable. So that's the manufacturing side. And of course, we have also satellite operators as customer for the software products, for example.
And I assume a mix of civil and military users as well.
Yes, we don't have government customers directly yet, but that's something that we are having a closer look into over the time. I know that space is pretty closely connected to governments and government interests, of course. But what was important to us from the beginning is that we start first on the commercial side and then expand to the government side. Because, and that's at least our philosophy, if you do it the other way around, you don't have the incentive to really develop something that's commercially feasible, that is competitive, that is affordable. And if you're doing it like government first and then expand to a commercial, it's tricky because you didn't have the incentive to really cover the market.
As you're a German company, Germany and the space budget, that's not a current love story, I would say. How do you deal with that? How depending are you on this German budget? Or do you have any clients here in Germany? You're working internationally, like the entire market. So how dependent are you on Germany?
So our direct impact is not that big. We have German customers as well. They might be impacted by that cut. We are not directly impacted by that cut because we are not funded by any German funding mechanism so far. But my biggest concern is really about the industry itself, and that it is the wrong signal on the one side, that space companies, especially the new ones, are not valuable enough, because in the end that budget cut means that the saved costs will be on the small companies. The big programs will still continue, and the small innovative programs might just disappear. And I think that's the biggest risk. I think the space industry can deal with a shorter budget, but it's not really sustainable for the future. And we should actually do the opposite. So we should significantly increase the budget, but it's not my decision.
My last question, where do you see, and I'm quite sure you have heard this question before, where do you see Morpheus in the 10 years to come?
So hopefully Morpheus Space is a leading propulsion and mobility company. So not only propulsion, but really mobility company. We want to be the leading company, the go-to, where if you have any mobility issue, if you want to get from A to B in space, Morpheus is your first address. We want to expand our business. We want to grow in Germany and the US, maybe in other parts of the world as well, and really follow our mission to make space mobility safe and simple.
Daniel, thank you very much for your time, and I leave you off the hook here now, back to the party with the rest of your team. And thank you very much for this invitation today, and good luck with the facility.
Thanks, Torsten. Let's have a beer.
If you have further questions, reach out to us at radio@SpaceWatch.Global. If you like these or other episodes of Space Café Radio, leave us a rating on your preferred podcast platform. It is the currency of today. And if you want to stay on the pulse of the space industry, please visit our website at www.SpaceWatch.Global and subscribe to our newsletters. And of course, don't forget to become a Space Watcher. I'm Torsten Kriening, publisher at SpaceWatch.Global, your independent perspective on space.